Welcome to the Cryptonomatron. Thanks for joining me today, guys. I really appreciate it. In today's video, we'll be doing an ICO review on xDAC, and you'll find out exactly what a decentralized autonomous corporation or company really is. But if this is your first time watching the channel and you want to know more about ICOs, cryptocurrency, blockchain, and other related stuff, then please do click on that subscribe button and click on that bell notification icon, and you'll get notified as soon as I upload new content and as soon as I go live. Thanks for doing that, guys. Let's get on with the xDAC ICO review. So what exactly is xDAC? Well, xDAC is a platform for creating and managing decentralized autonomous companies, or sometimes known as decentralized autonomous corporations as well. It's a self-governed platform for profit-driven companies without the geographical limitations. Global companies? Sounds interesting. So let's take a look exactly what is a decentralized autonomous corporation. So a decentralized autonomous corporation, a DAC, is sometimes known as a DAO as well, a decentralized autonomous organization. However, it can be a subset of a DAO as well, depending on the governance structure. It's a company that's run through smart contracts, basically on the back of a blockchain platform, and all the company's financial records, transaction records, and program rules are maintained on the blockchain itself. The legal status of these companies is still questionable. The SEC's been looking into them. And again, because it's such a new technology, the jury's still out on the regulations. So that's one thing we need to bear in mind here. So it was Daniel Larimer that first proposed the concept of a decentralized autonomous corporation or company in an article published way back in 2013, and he called it a decentralized organized company at the time. After that, Vitalik Buterin proposed that after a DAO or a decentralized autonomous organization was launched, it might be organized or able to run without managerial input from humans. So the smart contracts would basically be supported by a Turing complete platform and therefore do all of the work, cutting out the need for any human interaction whatsoever. So as far as materials concerned, the website is very nice. As you can see behind me, it's beautifully designed. The fonts are great. Really simple explanation of what they're trying to do and what it's all about. Really, really nice. In addition to the website, they do have a white paper, which again is very well put together. There's no business plan though, as far as I can tell, at least one that's not available to token sale investors. And there's a pitch deck as well, which is like a PowerPoint slideshow, and a single executive summary, I think it is. So yeah, the material overall looks very good. It's very, very pleasant and nice on the eye. There's no mistakes, spelling mistakes, or any minor mistakes that I noted, which shows they've got a little bit of attention to detail. So I like that. Thumbs up for the material in general. So the competition that xDAC mention in their pitch deck, and the material is quite good. Before we get into this review proper, they've got a white paper, it's very readable, the pitch deck's good, and they've also got an executive summary as well. Website looks lovely, I'll show you that in a minute. But they do name Aragon.one, or Aragon as you would know it, as their main competitor. Now they say that the focus for Aragon is on DAO creation and governance. The ICO of Aragon sold out in 26 minutes. But it had a poor ICO bench rating. Not that we give any credence to that at all, but it's not suitable for profit-driven companies, Aragon. So that's where xDAC see their competitive advantage, in that they're focusing on governance of small businesses and corporations, businesses that are setting up as profit-making entities. So the one competitor that did stick out in my mind is EOS DAC or EOS DAC. It's a community-owned EOS block producer and DAC enabler. Again, you can build your decentralized autonomous corporation or company on the back of this. Website's very impressive. It's been gaining a lot of traction recently. We'll look at CoinMarketCap in a second, but it's basically been developed on EOS, as is xDAC as well. EOS seems quite favorable to be building these decentralized autonomous organizations or companies on the back of the platform. So that's one of the reasons why these guys have chosen EOS rather than Ethereum or other different blockchains. So, you know, we look at this one and it seems very, very well set up. It's getting quite a lot of traction now on social media and exchanges as well. I think they just had an airdrop. So it's definitely one to watch. In terms of how it actually squares up with xDAC, I'll need to do a little bit more research on that. I'm not sure it's going to be in direct competition for the small business and medium businesses and profit-making organizations. But nonetheless, I'm sure that they'll have one eye on that as well. So let's take a quick look at EOS DAC on CoinMarketCap just to see what is possibly achieved by you know, another DAC ICO. So the total supply is just short of 1 billion, circulatory supply 661 million, the price at the moment around 18 cents, market cap just dropped under 120 million US dollars. But what's important to me looking at this now, just as I get a rough overview of this project, is the amount of volume going through it in the last 24 hours. Now, this is a new project. It only really launched, I think, on April the 18th after a successful ICO. So there's a lot of interest in this. And to me, that signals an interest in these decentralized autonomy organizations or companies, you know, especially this one, which is community focused as well. So we're definitely in the right ballpark here. Large volume of over 36,000 Ethereum in the last day or so. You know, that is something that really struck me. So yes, now xDAC, can it do the same? Well, we'll need to wait and see. We need to go through all the analytics first. So let's start off with looking at the problems that xDAC want to solve. So what are the problems this ICO is trying to solve, or this project's trying to solve? Well, the first one is it's too expensive, basically, and difficult to manage companies worldwide. If you're a global entity, then, you know, you've got satellite offices everywhere, different speaking staff. You can imagine the logistic complications as well that entails. It's expensive. It's difficult. You've got to comply with loads of different legislation wherever you're based, you know, such as business registration, different interacting with different financial institutions and different jurisdictions. And again, everything's disconnected as well. So having to do, you know, one thing and then transfer it over to another country or a different branch of your organization is very, very difficult and time consuming as well. And of course, it makes it expensive. And this is where a platform like this, a decentralized autonomous company, takes advantage and uses the blockchain distributed ledger technology, lets anybody create a company without the limitations of geography. So that's basically what it is. Now, it might not sound that important because we're at very early stage of these decentralized autonomous organizations, but you can see in the future how important this is going to be once we have an interconnected world, and we're getting there. We're at very early stages, and I always talk about a global ecosystem of blockchains, a global ecosystem of different cryptocurrencies, much like DNA, for example, or even you know, the Earth, with all the different plants and animals that live on it as one sort of ecosystem. You can think of, you know, this infrastructure, the technological infrastructure, in much the same way. And DACs and decentralized organizations are going to be at the center of that in the future as well. Everything's going to be automated by smart contracts, guys. You know, the whole reason we're having a boom in cryptocurrency, in blockchain, is for this reason. You know, that it is going to be the future. So the aims of this are to build a platform to create and manage the decentralized autonomous companies. So it's a self-governed platform, but it's aimed specifically at profit-driven companies. It's important to state that, and that's what separates it and perhaps gives it a competitive advantage over its rivals. And again, this is without geographical limitations. That's, again, another very, very important point here. Now, you will be able to have your own decentralized autonomous company should you choose to have it. And that's what the real kicker, the selling point is on this ICO here, is that you'll be able to build your own decentralized autonomous company, which will be a global entity, but you can do it much easier than being a multinational corporation. Of course, you can do it being a smaller entity as well. So that is really the aim of the game at the end of it. Now, the platform itself will take advantage of decentralized ledger technology, of course, and your company can be called, say for example, you have Bog Pill Pharmacy, and you want to actually have a decentralized autonomous corporation or company, then you would be called Bog Pill xDAC, for example, if you use this platform, and your company will be listed in the platform as well. Everything's going to be 100% transparent as well. Now, the platform does aggregate 3 different components: governance, finances, and workforce, all together in one place. So all the processes will be fast and automated. If you can't now start to see the value of where I'm going with this, then have your morning coffee, go for a dump, come back and watch this again. So what's the market for this kind of decentralized autonomous corporation or company? Well, at the moment, quite small, let's be honest, because people are still waiting to see the value in it. Many people haven't realized the value in it. You and me might, but the vast majority of the public don't really know what's going on and aren't attuned to the same sort of frequencies that we are. So at the moment it's a very small market, I would say, but it's going to grow exponentially. Once people get the joke here, we can see an explosion. Now, from their material, they claim that 472 million entrepreneurs worldwide are attempting to start 305 million companies. That's approximately 100 million new businesses, or 1/3 of those will open each year around the world. So, there's a massive need for new technology to fulfill those companies' requirements. And of course, some of them will be looking at having a decentralized autonomous organization for governance, and not the traditional setup as well. Those that are future forward looking, then they'll definitely be looking at this. And even in my company, we were going to launch an ICO. We may not launch an ICO now. It depends. We're still in discussions. I can't really go too much into detail about it, but what we were trying to do is we want to launch a company that is different, that's forward-looking, that's but with, again, it's an older industry we're involved in, so it's very difficult. And industries like the one we're involved in are very, very resistant to change as well, because it's all about profits and just doing what you're always doing just to make those profits, and trying to eke out the profits from every different way you can. And again, if they change, that requires a lot of input, a lot of work, a lot of management, a lot of perhaps financial losses as well, until the change is complete. So it's going to be very, very difficult. But in the future, you can see there's going to be a massive market for this, because simply this is the future, guys. It really is. So in 10 years' time, I'm pretty sure that there will be a lot of companies that are using the decentralized autonomous organization or company to open their businesses and operate globally without the hassle of the current system as well, because everything's going to be automated, guys, and that's what the beauty of it is. So as you can see behind me, the architecture is viewed as 3 different distinct technological layers. The first one is the blockchain, obviously the EOS blockchain they're going to use, or the EOS platform, and that's going to provide the smart contracts and the tokenization. Then on top of that, they will have the xDAC platform, which will be the core, which will have the identity, the governance, the voting, the ratings. Then on top of that, you'll have the decentralized applications, which will be the xDAC client, and that will have the company, the team, the tasks, and other stuff as well. So let's take an individual look at each of the 3 distinct technological layers on this ecosystem, starting off with the bottom layer, the fundamental layer of the EOS blockchain platform that's going to provide the smart contracts and the tokenization for this project. Now, they are using EOS because they believe it's the most advanced, feeless blockchain platform available for their project. And they believe it can scale to tens of thousands of transactions per second, and that offers them a solution of scalability that they require. But they're not going to discount using sidechain solutions as well, should the EOS blockchain be clogged, much like the Ethereum one is at the moment. Now, they are in testing phase. But they also believe that because EOS has quite a vibrant developer community, that is of advantage to them as well. And they're currently testing, their devs are currently testing on top of the EOS platform at the moment. So the second layer in the middle is the xDAC platform, or the core. Now, it is the public smart contracts layer, and this provides the open sourced implementation of the components that create the environment for the governance of decentralized applications and autonomous agents to be built on. So basically, it's the go-between between the blockchain and the decentralized apps. Now, the xDAC platform will generate the revenue from the fees that will be used to reward the most productive decentralized autonomous companies on the platform that are based on their proof of work performance rating. So that incentivizes their productivity on the DAC platform, which is quite clever, because it means if you're actually using this platform as a company, then you're incentivized to actually use it. So I won't get into too much detail about the proof of work mechanism because it's too technical. If you want to know more about it, you can actually read it in the white paper. But basically what it does is it allows for an automated rating system by implementing something called democratic collective welfare that tracks work ethic and delivering tasks on time. And it's quite an interesting concept, but again, you know, the more that you utilize the blockchain, the more that you utilize the ecosystem, the higher your rating is going to be effective. So the final layer is the client layer. It's the xDAC client, basically just a user interface that will have all the available decentralized apps aggregated in one place, and you can access it through a website or desktop application, so you can actually interact and fiddle around with the platform. So some of the platform features now, and the first one is obviously going to be governance and disputes, and that's all important because if you have a trusted smart contract system, then you don't need any middlemen, no lawyers, no court dates, everything's done automatically and through voting and democracy, basically. So the xDAC platform is going to have a digital jurisdiction over the companies, the xDACs that are created and operated by you, the business owner, and disputes with third parties are going to be resolved through this decentralized dispute representative board. I'm not going to go into further detail about it. Again, if you want to know a little bit more, you can look at the white paper. The other thing that this platform can offer is token issuance as well, and ownership. So you can actually have the option to issue a number of voting or non-voting tokens through a smart contract and distribute them between the owners or public via ICOs or a token sale. That's going to be very, very interesting going forward as well. I know a lot of companies will be interested in using that. Another thing is the payment processing as well. Again, you'll be able to use a digital wallet with a payment processor that will basically give you merchant tools for your company. And again, another very, very important aspect of this project. The other thing I liked was this liability fund. Liability fund is basically in case the company, the xDAC, gets into debt or any liabilities and they exceed a certain ratio, it's calculated at a percentage of received payments until a threshold is reached, and this protects any investors in case of any defaults by the company. There's also the proof of work performance rating. I mentioned it briefly before. It allows for an automated rating system, basically to track the effectiveness of team members and companies in the system and distribute the platform profits by way of participation. Again, the more you put in, the more you get out. It's very much like certain other organizations that I'm a member of. So project and team management is the final feature that I want to discuss, and that's a feature of the proof of work performance rating. It helps the company, the xDAC, keep up with the tasks, scheduling and distributing automated payments to the team members as well. So they do have a couple of repositories on GitHub. One of them is the smart contract. However, it's noted on Concourse that the contract code in the GitHub doesn't match the xDAC contract on Etherscan. The GitHub one's got a refund function where the actual smart contract doesn't, or it's maybe just not visible. The other thing to bear in mind is because while there are 6 xDAC contracts in the Ethereum blockchain, this may suggest that they were either test contracts or the team was just trying stuff. So that might indicate a lack of experience in making smart contracts, perhaps. And I think if you look at the team as well, that could be a bit of experimentation because they are using actual freelance developers. So yeah, something to be wary of there. So token use now, well, the token is called the xDAC, XDAC is the ticker, and it's the platform currency. Basically, it represents the value and wealth in this decentralized economy. Now, you'll use it for an exchange of values, payments, to receive payments between different xDAC companies on the platform, between your employees, customers, and other third-party entities as well. It will be also used for dispute resolutions, to pay your team members, accept payments for services, profit distribution, and also to incentivize development on top of the platform too. Now, the xDAC tokens, they are ERC-223 compatible tokens, which is an Ethereum based token. They will be initially distributed on the Ethereum blockchain on a smart contract for the crowd sale, but then eventually they will be migrated over to another protocol, much like many of the other ICOs that we see launching these days, using Ethereum tokens because they're easy to use to get your crowd sale off the ground. But finally, once you've got yourself up and running, they migrate over. This is no different. And of course, I would neglect to mention that they are going to be tradable on external exchanges after the ICO. So there's no scam warnings for this project. There are a couple of red flags on Concourse website, but I tend to see them more as negative surrounding the project rather than red flags. For my reviews, I consider red flags things that, you know, really should be taken as critical, and they're negative. They're not overly critical. They're certainly not scam warnings, guys. So this is a legit project, but again, there's a couple of concerns, but I'll raise them during each section and summarize them at the end as well. Okay, so token sale now, and the current pre-sale is active. It started on the 15th of May. It will finish up on the 30th of May, guys. The crowd sale proper will start on the 1st of June, finish up on the 15th of June, I believe. So the token ticker is xDAC, as you can see for the information behind me. It is an Ethereum-based ERC-20 based token, but it is the ERC-223 token. The maximum supply or total supply is 100 million. The total for public sale will be 40 million or 40%. Soft cap is at 1500 Ether. Hard cap 35,500 Ether, which at the moment with the current Ether price gives it a hard cap of around 24 million US dollars. Just to let you know, token price is 0.001 Ether, and 1 Ether will get you 1,000 xDAC tokens, obviously. So minimum purchase 0.1 Ether or 100 xDAC. So pre-sale bonuses are very, very large, 45%. The early investor gets the worm. ICO round 1, 20% bonus. Round 2, 15% bonus. Round 3, 10% bonus. Then no bonus at round 4. And one of the reasons that I quite like this project is it's quite fair as well to investors. If you get in early, you can participate. There's no massive private sales. You know, this is a project that the general ICO community, the general cryptocurrency community can participate in, and again that will reflect in my final score as well, because I'm going to start getting harsher and being more miserly with my scores to projects that give large pre-sales and large private sales. I don't think it's in the spirit of ICOs, and I'm going to discount them. While the fundamentals of the project might be good, it's not, you know, it's against the spirit of the whole thing. So this project gets thumbs up for being able to participate and get large bonuses if you get in early. The other thing I have to say is US citizens, unfortunately, cannot participate unless they are accredited investors, and it's just because they've done their research, the legal due diligence as well. So they want to be in compliance. They are based in the US, so it's unfortunate, guys, unless you're a accredited investor, you can't go in. The only other thing that I need to mention here is that they're not burning unsold tokens, but they will be distributed to the investors via airdrop after the ICO ends. So either way, it's still a win-win situation. So token distribution for the ICO, 40% goes to the token sale, as I mentioned, 20% to the community, 20% to team, early backers and advisors, and 20% goes to the foundation as well. Now, foundation tokens are vested for 1 year, but the team tokens only vested for 6 months, which is rather short in my opinion. So this project is having both an airdrop and a bounty campaign as well, although they just call it basically an airdrop. Now, if you invest in the pre-sale, then you will actually be eligible for a bigger bonus. So it's in your interest to actually participate in not only the bounty campaign or the airdrop campaign, but actually to buy tokens as well. And I think I'm going to do both, to be honest with you here. So they have a Twitter bounty or a Twitter airdrop, a Reddit airdrop. You get 5 xDAC tokens for those. You can do an xDAC review. I assume that's a blog. Up to 100 xDAC available there. They're very generous with the video as well. That didn't actually play into my decision whether to review this. I decided to review it before I found out about the reward, the bounty reward. But you can get up to 3,000 xDAC tokens for a video, and also Facebook airdrop, Telegram airdrop. You can write an article, again, up to 100 xDAC tokens available there. And you can do xDAC bug and vulnerability reports as well and earn up to 500 tokens. So yeah, very, very generous campaign, and it's running now. I'll leave the link below as usual if you want to participate, guys. So the roadmap then is quite short and concise. They started in November 2017, and nothing much is going to happen until well after the ICO is complete and token distribution is done as well. Now, the other thing to note here is they are actually launching the Ethereum tokens, basically, instead of waiting for the EOS tokens to be released, which is a little bit strange. You might think they would have wanted to wait, but obviously they're hungry to get the crowd sale finished and get going. So we can deduce that they're probably reliant on some funds coming in to hire new team members and to move forward. And we'll see the alpha release in November 2018 and probably a beta release and testing beginning in January 2019. So not that long to wait before we actually do see a working product in place. So let's look at the core team now, and then we'll look at the advisory body. So what I did notice was that a couple of the developers, Sergey and Dimitro, are actually part-time. They're not fully committed to this project, so that's a little bit of a concern for me as well. There are a couple of the team members that don't mention this project xDAC on their LinkedIn profiles. So again, not fully committed to the project perhaps. However, the rest of the team members that do are pretty impressive, I think, is from a technical standpoint especially. Oscar is the founder, Eric is the technical lead, and those are the two guys that I want to concentrate on. So let's have a look at Oscar. Well, he's the founder, obviously. He has actual investor experience at XWorks as well. He founded iReviews, also founded OpenDrive and was a project lead there. So he's fairly impressive. As to Eric Stone, he's been programming since 1980. He's quite an impressive CV there. If you can see, he's involved with a lot of programming experience as well. Technical lead on this project, which is good because, again, it shows he's got the programming experience to move forward. And I saw a couple of people saying that, well, you know, there's not much blockchain experience in the team, and yeah, that's fair enough. That's a valid remark, but I would counter and say, well, blockchain's a very young technology. How are people meant to get into it? How are programmers meant to become blockchain developers if they don't, you know, if they don't learn? You know, it's so young that they're thin on the ground, blockchain devs. So that can be forgiven, in my opinion. But Eric is the CTO and founder at CoinPal as well. Also CTO and founder at TeleSocial, Kadoink. And he used to work for Toyota in North America. So it's a pretty strong couple of founders, I think. So the advisory body only consists of 5 people. Louis Bresci, he's the legal advisor, regulatory advisor. I don't know why I said his name. I think that Godfather scene, Louis Bresci sleeps with the fishes. But anyway, sorry, Lewis. Constant and Baz are their ICO advisors, really. Constant's got experience in other projects. Invox Finance is one that I've reviewed and springs to mind. Anna Cho, she is the founder and CEO at Epic App and Principal Labs. She went to Stanford. And Sebastian is co-founder at CoinOunce, which is a Swiss-based blockchain marketing firm, basically. So, you know, it is quite a small team, but again, they've got quite good experience in what they're trying to do. So in terms of partnerships, there isn't anything noted on the website itself. However, I noted that they are on CoinHills, and also CoinOunce will be supporting them, as Sebastian, one of the advisors, is basically the founder there. So yeah, they've got a couple of partners, but again, nothing specifically stated on the website itself. So the hype and community behind this project, well, the community is massive because they've been doing this airdrop and they get everybody signing up for free tokens. Now, whether the hype behind it is there or not, I don't know. To be honest, it's hard to gauge with these large communities when there's not much really going on any of the media channels. But you know, there's definitely some buzz about this project. It's been featured in a lot of the media as well, including all the main ICO tracking websites like ICO Bench, ICO Ranker, Track ICO, etc. So the media coverage is pretty good there. There is a whopping 9,900 subscribers on their Reddit as well. It's just incredible. 13 online at the moment, which isn't bad for a project of this nature. How are you guys finding the new Reddit? The look, the jury's still out for me. I'm still trying to get used to it. Also, they're on Medium, only a few articles on their Medium blog, as you can see here. A very impressive 52,587 members on their English-speaking Telegram group, which is good. But again, you know, most of those will have just signed up to get the free tokens. Let's hope that they actually take the time to get involved with the project, because they're given the opportunity. Yep, you get a few free tokens for performing in the airdrop and joining the Telegram group, but look into the project, guys. You know, it's worth looking into. And another impressive 37,000, sorry, followers on Twitter as well. So yeah, the community is very, very large. Hype is hard to judge. The one thing I will say is that the community on the Telegram group seems very enthusiastic, and I got responses immediately from the questions that I asked about this project. So yeah, thumbs up for that as well. Well done, guys. You're certainly trying to help the community and give answers. So that's very, very good to see. Okay guys, it's final verdict time as usual, and you know, you don't have to listen to me waffle for 30 minutes. You can skip right through to this section using the timestamps in the description if you're not already aware. So normally what I do is I start off with the positives, and what I like about this project, well, it's the future of companies. I think we have to realize that decentralization, democratization, and distributed ledgers are going to be the future, and this is no exception, especially when you go to set up a company. Again, especially if you've got global ambition, which most, especially fintech companies, have these days, it's important to note that this is going to be the future. I think this could be more attractive than other decentralized autonomous organizations or decentralized autonomous companies or corporations for the profit-making entities, because this is focusing on small and medium businesses. And again, that could give it the competitive advantage over some of its rivals. The fact that infrastructure projects are generally a good investment is a good sign as well. During the .com era, if you got involved with infrastructure projects, you probably didn't get as wrecked as if you were involved with pets.com or some other questionable investment opportunities that arose then. And this is going to make company setup very easy and simple. It's going to be, you know, easy to set up a global-based company with the click of a mouse. Excuse me. So this solves many problems as well. This is a real problem solver in terms of regulatory compliance for your company, because if you're global, if you're a decentralized autonomous organization, you're not going to need to comply with any particular different legislation. Plus, with the smart contracts as well, you're cutting out the middleman. And you don't need to have accountants or lawyers doing stuff for you. So in that sense, it's going to be truly disruptive to the way we do business. And what I thought was really cool is you can launch a token, you can have your own token for your own company, your own mini ecosystem, if you like, and an ICO you can launch as well if you're that way inclined. I saw this has a lowish hard cap of around 24 million US dollars, and that means there is potential for growth given the other DAC projects we've seen launch. And the material on this project is very well presented, it's very good, it's very thought through, and you can see there's attention to detail because there's not many mistakes in it at all. This has also got quite a large community behind it too, and you know, large communities always will help a project achieve its goals. So it might be a bit misleading, might not be as hyped as some other projects out there, but again, the community is important for this project. And the unsold tokens will be distributed back to the investors. No token burn here, but if you invest in this project, you will benefit if it doesn't sell out. So again, it's a win-win. And final positive for this section is fair participation is guaranteed in this project. No massive pre-sales, no massive private sales to venture capital firms and the like. It's fair participation guaranteed. And again, we should be backing projects like this, guys, not trying to FOMO into projects that dribble us down a little bit of tokens. You know, let's use our brains here and let's get behind community projects like this. You know, they're giving you tokens for free in an airdrop as well. Least we can do is show them a bit of support too. And I like this. And that's why I've got a little surprise for you a bit later on in this video, why I've introduced a new section. Now, negatives, what I don't like about this project, well, first of all, it's got to be the questionable legal status, hasn't it? Because let's be honest, we're in a bit of a limbo, we're in a bit of a grey area here. So that's got to be a negative from an investment standpoint going forward, because we just simply don't know how we're going to stand up. Now, the other negative I saw here, and I know they have an advisor on board that's trying to get them regulatory compliance, but the fact they're based in the US, it could be a problem for regulatory compliance in the future. We know the SEC are not so hot on ICOs at the moment, so again, it's something to definitely bear in mind if you're thinking about contributing to this project. Now, the other negative that I saw was the team could be stronger, especially on the dev side. I did mention during the team section that a lot of the team don't have their the full focus on this project. The devs are freelancers. Now, I know they are recruiting, so hopefully that'll be just a minor issue in the future. And of course, we know that some of the devs don't have this project listed on their LinkedIn as well, or some of the team don't have this project listed on their LinkedIn. So again, team could be a bit stronger for me. And I have some concerns over the code as well. As I mentioned before, it was mentioned on another website that the code didn't match up with what's available on GitHub from Etherscan. So again, a higher token price than I like. It is quite an expensive token, but again, there's not so many of them. There's only 100 million total supply and only 40 million going to a token sale. So it's not that big of an issue, I think, the high token price here. The major thing for me is this doesn't have a working product or demo as yet. We're waiting till later on this year, probably November, before we see the alpha. So yeah, again, I'm not too keen on projects that try to launch without a working product or demo. And number 7, another thing that I noted was this is launching an Ethereum-based smart contract for its ICO now. Well, why not hang off until EOS is available in a couple of months' time? And then you don't have to do the token swap at all. And number 8, far too short a vesting period for team tokens. 6 months is far too short, guys. You need to extend that to a minimum of 2 years, I feel. So potential gains now, as usual, we take a look at what this might do given the market situation and taking into account previous similar sized projects from this. So, you know, we checked out EOS DAC earlier on. or EOS DAC, or however you want to pronounce it, in the competition section. And I'm going to say that that's probably about the most similar project in size, and also, given it's only a few weeks old as well, I'm going to use that as my my baseline here. So in ultra bearish market, I think this is going to suffer. I think this could, because of the token price, because of the market capitalization, maybe around 20 to 30 million when it goes on exchanges, I think this could potentially lose up to 70%. But again, bearish markets are just not going to be favorable to any cryptocurrency or project launching at the moment, and that's just the way it is, guys. Yeah. In a bearish environment, again, this will lose, but the losses will be less significant, I feel. But in a bullish environment, you know, EOS DAC has got a market capitalization of around $120 million. So I can see this doing an easy 5x in a bullish. If we get a good bull run for a few weeks after the ICO, this could do very, very well indeed. And again, in a perma bullish market, the sky's the limit with this one, guys, really. And again, over the longer term, that's where the key gains are going to be made here. So if you are looking for quick gains, I think you might be mistaken on this one, but definitely it's a solid project that could potentially do a 20x. If we get really crazy like we did in December and January, then 20x on this is not out with possibilities. You know, going from 25-30 million dollar market cap up to maybe 500, quarter of a billion, half a billion, say 500 million, isn't really out the question here. So what do I think for flipping? Well, I don't see much potential here for flipping because the hard cap is it's not as low as I'd like. Then I think that limits its potential for flipping, and the high token price as well doesn't help. But longer term for hodling, it's got to be the play here, guys. It really has, and I feel you'll get rewarded if you hold this one in the longer term. And again, you know, it'll all be down to implementation. If they can actually pull this off, then yeah, this could be a long-term gainer for me. So this is the new section I was talking about, and it's called Scores on the Doors. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to break this down into different sections that are important, different criteria for the project, and I'm going to mark them out of 10. So let's get going. So presentation and pitch for this project is very, very good. I'm going to give that an 8 out of 10. I think they've pitched this well. Competitiveness, how does it rank against the rivals? And is it actually going to have a competitive edge? And I think it does. I'm giving it a solid 7, but there are a few competitors out there. Problem solver, does it actually solve any pain points? Well, yes, it certainly does. Makes setup of companies very easy, especially if you have a global ambition, and I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. Does it actually disrupt the industry it's aiming at? And I think this does. But again, it will be interesting to see in the future just how disruptive these decentralized autonomous organizations can be. And I'm giving this an 8. Blockchain and tech is where this project gets let down. There's no blockchain yet. However, there is code available for the smart contract on GitHub. And the tech is well illustrated in the white paper and the other material. However, there's no working product either. So this scores only a 4. Token use, however, well, this project could not do it without a tokenization system and a tokenized economy, so it gets a 9 out of 10. And it's also incentivizing to people that are going to use it, or companies that are going to use it as well. So tokenomics, how do they rate in the ICO? What's the token price like? What's the hard cap like? Is it attractive for an investor or a contributor? And I think yes, this is quite attractive. The hard cap is a little bit higher than I would like, and the token price is a little bit higher than I would like, but it's still quite an attractive proposition, given that the circulating supply will be fairly low when it goes on exchanges. Community and hype behind this project. I think there's a big community here. There might not be as much hype as we'd like, but certainly the community is big enough to drive this project onward. The roadmap. What have they achieved and what are they going to achieve? Well, this only gets a 4, unfortunately, because they don't have a working product. They haven't done much already. What they have done is pretty solid, but again, there's not enough meat on the bone for me to score it higher here. And we're looking at end of 2018, start of 2019 before we actually see the alpha and the beta. So as far as the team and advisory body is concerned, this gets a 6. It could be stronger, and I feel that the dev team, they need a dedicated dev team to this project. But the founders themselves are very, very capable, and a couple of advisors are pretty solid as well. So as far as partnerships go, again, another letdown. We don't seem to have any partnerships. Now, I did ask on the Telegram group and was reliably informed that they will be appointing some partnerships, but only after the crowd sale is complete. Now, I do think they have a couple of partners, but again, they've not announced them on the website as yet. So only 2 out of 10 here. And another section, fair play. And fair play is basically giving the little man a chance to get some tokens in your project instead of selling them to private sales, private investors, big whales, venture capitalists, and the like. And I'm going to start getting harsh on projects that don't allow us, the little guy, a fair go. And this does give us a fair go, so it's getting a very, very good 8 out of 10. So I hope you enjoyed that new section, guys, but we do have to give it a final verdict. How does it rate out of 10? 1, of course, being the lowest and 10 being the highest. Gone are the 5-star ratings that I was giving before. We'll do them out of 10 now. And this is a great little project. It's got a few shortcomings, I feel, that I've outlined already in this verdict section, but it is a solid 7 out of 10, this project, I feel. And again, am I applying for the bounty here and for full transparency and full disclosure? I am applying for the bounty, so I will receive some tokens probably in the end. But again, that doesn't affect me doing a proper review on these projects, guys. As I always say, I will rip a project apart if that's necessary, and I will also have a gravitate towards projects I like as well, because it takes me time to do a lot of research. So I'm not going to waste time, you know, trawling through crap just so that I can tell you, oh, it's a crap project. I'll bring projects that interest me to your attention. So that's why most of my scores are on the positive side rather than the negative. I won't waste a day or 2 days researching, going through a project that I ultimately know is going to be rubbish, and I'm going to trash it. Am I going to invest in this project? Yes, I am. I think the fact that you get a bonus for your bounty campaign if you actually invest in the project means, yeah, I'm going to stick some ETH in this. I don't know how much yet. I haven't decided, but yeah, it's attractive to me, and I think this is one of my longer term holds as well. I'm going to put a little bit of Ethereum in, and I'm going to hold it for the longer term. So there we go. So there it is, my xDAC ICO review video, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give us a like, and as usual, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do so now, and click that bell icon as well so you get notified as soon as I upload any new ICO reviews or any new content, or even if I ever go live, which I assure you will happen in the near future. So yeah, that's it. Leave me comments, guys. Let me know what you think of this xDAC project. How bullish are you on decentralized autonomous companies or decentralized autonomous organizations yourselves? I mean, it seems to be it's the way it's going to head in the future, isn't it? So let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below as well. That's it for me today. Thanks for watching, and as ever, this isn't financial advice, guys. I'm not a financial advisor. I am just doing these for entertainment purposes only, and you should only take them as such. You should never base your decisions on what I tell you. Again, it's not financial advice. Do your own due diligence, do your own research, and please only invest what you can afford to lose, guys. Always diversify your portfolio as well. Never put your eggs in one basket, so to speak. And yeah, invest wisely, invest cautiously as well. Never rush in. Fools rush in, as you know, and don't listen to shillers on YouTube. For God's sake, guys, you know what I mean? You know better than that. Really, and I bet you're wrecked now with your alt bags, aren't you? You're holding heavy sacks, and you're thinking, why did I listen to that prick and buy all those crappy altcoins that are not going to ever go anywhere? So there you go. Now you know, and you'll be more careful in the future.